Kingdom. Welcome back to another episode of Gridiron Lines. This is your ever so gracious host, Gary McKenzie, back at you again on the greatest Chiefs YouTube channel in the history of existence, RGR Football. You know what it is, that's why you're here. And I was struggling today. I was working, and I thought to myself, I have no idea what I'm going to make for a Chiefs video tonight. I have no content. I have total video block or, video creator block, whatever you want to call it. So I approached a coworker and I said, "Hey, you like the Chiefs. What should I talk about tonight in my video?" And they said, "Well, last week or a couple weeks ago when we were watching the game versus the Dolphins, we thought the defense was so awesome. And we were curious how long this group could potentially stay together. Are they going to be good for years to come, or is this just a flash in the pan?" And so I broke out my old trusty pen and some scribbles and went through the Chiefs' current defensive players and got an idea of where the Chiefs' defense may be next season. In addition to that, I'll talk about Andy Reid, his time in Philadelphia and Kansas City, and then do some contrasting of the Chiefs versus the Eagles matchup, just to get an idea of who I think is going to win this Monday night matchup between those two teams. So starting off, the Chiefs have a handful of players that are free agents after the 2023 season on the defensive side of the ball. Those players are Chris Jones, Willie Gay Jr., L'Jarius Sneed, Michael Dana, Drew Tranquil, Mike Edwards, Derek Nottie, and Tershawn Wharton. There were other players, but those are the key players that we've seen most on the field for the Chiefs defense, taking the most snaps. So we'll start with those players and thinking about 2024 next season. But since those are the players getting the most snaps, I also want to talk about Chiefs defensive snaps in another light. So as of now, the Chiefs currently have the youngest defense in the NFL on a snap-by-snap basis. So the Chiefs defenders who are playing on the field are the youngest unit in the entire NFL. So that is green flag number one, check mark number one. This is a good sign for the Chiefs to have longevity at the defensive side of the ball. And looking at these players who are free agents in 2024, I think it's important to start by saying, well, how much cap space do the Chiefs have in 2024? And that number currently sits at a roughly $31 million, according to SpotTrack. And interestingly enough, the Chiefs next season in 2024, their biggest cap hit goes to Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to make roughly $57 million. Moving on to 2025, so in 2 years, the Chiefs' cap space grows incredibly. So they have cap space of $124 million, $125 million, of which Patrick Mahomes gets $60 million of that. So there is room for this Chiefs from a contract standpoint and salary cap standpoint to sign several of these players and pay them well. I don't think that it's you got to take this one guy and cut this other guy. I don't think it's a one man out, one man in situation. But I do think if the Chiefs choose to sign Chris Jones, it makes it a lot harder for them to go ahead and pick up players like Willie Gay, L'Jarius Sneed, Michael Dana, Drew Tranquil, all players who I'd like to see back on the Chiefs roster in 2024. So Chris Jones, you know what happened in the offseason. We won't talk about it anymore, but he's supposedly wanting around $30 million a year. That is a lot of money, even though he is the best defensive tackle in the NFL currently. So that is going to be the biggest challenge for the Chiefs brass next season, and I don't envy Brett Veach's position trying to sort out, okay, if we pay Chris Jones $30 million, how much can we pay L'Jarius Sneed? Can we keep Mike Dana? Can we keep Drew Tranquil around? What about Willie Gay? So that's a tough position for Brett Veach to be in. And out of all of these free agent players, as much as I love Chris Jones, there's one player on this Chiefs defense who under no circumstance do I want to see leave the team in 2024, and that's L'Jarius Sneed. So L'Jarius Sneed, over the course of his 4 years in Kansas City, including 2023, he's made a total, or he will make a total of $3.9 million. He has played for less than $1 million per year on average under his contract. And over these past 4 years, he's solidified himself as a number one cornerback, not only on the Chiefs, but one of the best cornerbacks in all of the NFL. And he hasn't said a peep about his contract. He is a man who does his job, does it well, doesn't complain, and that's the kind of guy that I would like to have on the Chiefs going forward. I think that he could be given a deal that fits in well with the Chiefs' salary cap space. And I went and looked at the highest paid cornerbacks in 2023, and I picked the top 5 guys. So Green Bay has the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. That's Jair Alexander. He's getting $21 million per year. Cleveland has Denzel Ward, the second highest, $20.1 million. Then you have Jalen Ramsey with the Dolphins, $20 million. Then you have Marlon Humphrey with the Ravens, $19.5 million. Then you have Marshawn Lattimore with the Saints, $19.4 million. And that's the average across the length of their contract. So I don't think that L'Jarius Sneed is going to demand $20 million a year. I think he might be able to get closer to that if he were to test the free agent market. But I think the Chiefs could float him an offer from $15 to $19 million per year, and he would take it in Kansas City. He just seems like the kind of player that, does his job, shows up, does it very well, and doesn't complain. And that's what I really like about L'Jarius Sneed from a personality standpoint. But his play on the field last week or a couple weeks ago versus the Dolphins, he and Trent McDuffie held Tyreek Hill to 62 receiving yards. That's unbelievable. And this week versus the Eagles, they'll have another test. And if they ace this again, then he will have shut down Tyreek Hill and then A.J. Brown, two of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and both of them have completely different skill sets. A.J. Brown, much more physical. I think that L'Jarius Sneed can match up well with that physicality, but he's going to be a lot to handle. Then you have players like Michael Dana, Drew Tranquill, Derek Nottie, Tershawn Wharton, Willie Gay. And I think at this point in time, you have to ask yourself, what players on this defensive side of the defensive side of the ball give the most bang for their buck, the most value? And in my opinion, it's better to have 5 above average guys than 1 elite guy. I'm not saying that if the Chiefs sign Chris Jones, they won't be able to sign several of these other players for next season, but it's going to make it a lot more difficult. And defensively, the way defenses are created, the best defenses are the defenses that have good players at nearly every position. If you have a defense that has 5 elite players and then 6 below average players, that defense is going to get shredded. NFL offenses are built around exploiting weaknesses. That's why the Chiefs defense is so good in 2023, is because all along the defensive side of the ball, there are no weaknesses. They have great playmakers sprinkled throughout, so they have a mixture of elite and above average across the board. But defensively, I would much rather have a team of guys that were above average with no weaknesses as opposed to some elite players and then kind of dropping the ball at other positions. In terms of my coworker's question, the longevity of this group, I absolutely think it's possible for this group to have 3 years, including this year, of really great top 5 defensive play. And I say that because of the draft class from 2022. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Joshua Williams, all these guys that the Chiefs brought in that are the nucleus of this defense, they are showing out and they'll be under contract for the next several years. So I think that the core of this defense will remain mostly intact. And so that's why I think that the longevity of this group, the sustainability of this group is in a great position, and I give the future of this Chiefs defense an A+ as we see it right now. There is some work they have to do next offseason. They have some cap space. They're going to have to make some moves. Many of you would rather see them, try to sign a free agent wide receiver. We'll see what happens there. But overall, the strength or the sustainability of this defense is really good. So they're in a good position. Moving on to Coach Reid. So Coach Reid coached 14 seasons in Philadelphia. He had a 130-93 record for a .583 win percentage. Moved on to Kansas City. This is his 11th year in Kansas City. He has a 124-47 record in Kansas City for an insane .725 win percentage. This is unbelievable. And I kind of have hoped, this is a personal hope of mine, that Coach Reid coaches longer in Kansas City than he does in Philadelphia. I believe he's currently 66, 67 years old. So it's totally possible for him to go 3, 4 more years and still continue on the strong clip that he's going now. Moving on to the Chiefs offense. So Coach Reed, while he's been in Kansas City in his 10 full seasons, the Chiefs offense has finished top 10 in 8 of those 10 years, with half of them being Alex Smith years. So there's been a lot of groaning about how poorly the Chiefs offense has played so far this year. They're number 12 in points scored, I think number 8 in yards gained. And so this has been a bad year for Andy Reid, for an Andy Reid offense. But given their history with Mahomes, they have been top 10 every single year Mahomes has been the quarterback, and I see no difference in this going forward in 2023. I think they will improve as the season goes on. They will get in that top 10 spot, and things will really start to coalesce as the Chiefs go into the playoffs. So this is a group I think that is set up for a lot of success. And as of week 10, on the flip side, the Chiefs have the best defense in Andy Reid's tenure in Kansas City. They're number 4 in yards allowed, number 2 in points allowed, and this is kind of uncharted territory for Andy Reid in the Mahomes era to have a defense that this is good, that has been this good. So I expect the Chiefs team to make a push in the playoffs and probably win the Super Bowl if they can get the offense fixed. But moving on to the matchup with the Eagles. So there's one area on the Chiefs defense where they have not played well, and that is with their rushing defense. They are number 27 in yards per rush allowed. And the Eagles offensively, that is what they like to do. So this is a bad matchup for the Chiefs defense. The Eagles have ran the ball the third most in the NFL. They had the 8th most rushing yards. And in addition to that, they have the 3rd most points scored and the 5th most yards. So this is another really good offense the Chiefs defense will face after seeing maybe the best offense in the NFL with the Miami Dolphins a couple weeks ago in Frankfurt. So the Chiefs defense has their work cut out for them. And if they are going to win this game and play well defensively, it starts on 1st and 2nd down. The Chiefs defense has to play well against the run on early downs. They can't be getting into 3rd and short situations. And it's similar to the Miami game. So they didn't want Miami to be in 3rd and short because that's whenever Miami could use a lot of their trickery, their misdirection, their play action, their bubble screens, just their screen game in general. So Chiefs wanted to keep the Dolphins out of 3rd and short, and they were successful in that. Just like versus the Dolphins, the Chiefs are going to want to keep the Eagles out of 3rd and short, but for a different reason. It's because the Eagles have an unstoppable play with the tush push, the quarterback sneak, that seems to always get 1 or 2 yards, no matter what. So the Chiefs' defense in this game is going to have to be laser focused on winning on 1st and 2nd down and not letting it get to 3rd and short where the Eagles can just pick up those easy 1st downs. Moving on to the Eagles defensively, this is where the Eagles have really struggled this year. They're number 18 in points allowed, number 14 in yards allowed, mediocre in those 2 areas, but they've been atrocious in pass defense. They're 28th in passing yards allowed and 32 in passing touchdowns allowed. Looking at the Chiefs' play this season, they've had kind of a mixture of good and bad versus these bad passing defenses. When they saw the Broncos for the first time and the second time, the Broncos were not playing very good defense in terms of passing defense, and somehow they held the Chiefs to really low point totals. Mahomes couldn't get the ball moving, and I think that's mainly because they used the spy a lot, so they took away Mahomes' legs, which I would expect to see the Eagles do this again. And I don't know if the Eagles have the defensive players to put a spy on Mahomes and also find success in stopping him from throwing the ball. We'll have to see on Monday night. But regarding the Eagles' pass defense, I wanted to look and see if their defense was a fluke. Like maybe they've played some really, really good passing offenses, and that's why they're ranked near the bottom of the league. But that's not the case. So week 1, they saw Mac Jones with the New England Patriots. Then week 2, they saw Kirk Cousins. Week 3, Baker Mayfield. Week 4, Sam Howell. Week 5, Matthew Stafford. Week 6, their only loss of the season was versus Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. Week 7, they saw a really good offense, Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. Week 9, they saw Sam Howell again. And then week 10, another good offense, they saw Dak Prescott. So out of these, 9 games they've played, I would say 4 of them were versus good quarterbacks. And that's taking, Sam Howell out of that equation, maybe 4.5, 5. So it's not like they've played an extreme onslaught of tremendous quarterbacks. So I believe that their defense playing poorly is legitimate in terms of their passing defense, and it's going to be up to the Chiefs' passing offense to take advantage of that. If the Chiefs are able to throw the ball in this game and they defend the run well, they should win this matchup. And Vegas agrees. They have the Chiefs favored as 2.5 points. That's where I believe the Chiefs should be favored. I believe that that line of 2.5 points is correct. However, at the beginning of the season, before the season started, I predicted the Eagles would win this game and the Chiefs would fall to 8-2. They're currently 7-2, so if they win, then my record is going to be right. But because of this, because of my prediction with the Eagles early on in the season, I am going to hedge my bet in this game. And I'm going to say the Chiefs win and the Eagles cover the 2.5 spread. And currently I am 11-8 in my predictions. We'll see if I can win both of these picks this week. It's going to be difficult because it's a very small window for that bet to hit. So I'm hedging my bet. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to win this game. Do you think the Chiefs favored by 2.5 points is a good a line for this game? Do you think it's a good spread? And then let me know also in the comments, who do you think is going to win the matchup between A.J. Brown and Trent McDuffie? Who's going to win the matchup between A.J. Brown and L'Jarius Sneed? This is the matchup I'm going to be looking for if the Chiefs can hold the Eagles to 3rd and long, 2nd and long, getting out of obvious run downs, playing the run well defensively in the early downs is going to be the key to this game, because I do believe that the Chiefs secondary is the strength of this team. And if they can force the Eagles to play against that strength, then the Eagles are going to have a hard time moving the ball. In this game, once again, I'm taking the Chiefs to win, Eagles to cover the 2.5 point spread. And I want to say thank you to my coworkers who gave me the suggestion on the idea for today's video. Really appreciate it. I also want to say thank you to them because both of them decided to subscribe to the channel. And as you all know, we've been working tirelessly to try and get to 30,000 subscribers. So we got 2 more today. Jessica and Natalie, I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for just being wonderful coworkers, people I get to do my day job with, and just have the best work atmosphere a guy could ever dream of. So just thank you. And I also want to thank all of you, for hitting that subscribe button down there right now if you want to. And make sure you hit the like too, because it helps the algorithm share Chiefs content across YouTube for other people who may be interested in seeing this. Last thing I want to talk about is the true most important matchup in this game, and it's the sexiest man alive competition that we have going on between Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce. Obviously, Jason Kelce was nominated for Time's Sexiest Man Alive, and the only reason I think he has a chance to win that is because Andy Reid wasn't nominated. We all know Andy Reid would win that. The only reason they don't nominate him is because it would be so unfair to all the other men vying for that top spot. So that's where I stand on that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. This is Gary signing out. Here's to a successful Monday night win for Kansas City versus a really good Eagles team. Rematch of a Super Bowl last year. Should be a great game. Y'all stay safe. Have a good Thursday and a good weekend. Take care.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.